ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरम्। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। So the fourth question, how to be liberated, was answered by the teacher here. And we saw the different steps that the teacher mentioned that one has to prepare oneself with the required qualifications and then go to the teacher, listen, reflect, contemplate, and do that for a long time. Then the mind will get absorbed in that state of samadhi, where the false identification with the body will go, and the person gets established in the understanding that I am pure consciousness, I am not this body, mind, and intellect. Now he takes up the last question, how to discriminate between Atma and Anatma. So actually it is the fifth question, Kosav Anatma, what is the Anatma? So knowing what is Anatma and Atma then will help us to discriminate. So the description that comes now, so the word Atma actually means I, Aham. Today we are considering what is not I, not self, as the self. And what is the self that we don't know. So the description now comes of the equipment, the personality, gross body, subtle body, causal body, all that. That is the description of Anatma. But today that is what I think I am. So when we are learning about this, it is to be viewed with this attitude that this is the description of the Anatma. This is the description of the equipment. This is not the description of the self. And I am the self which is endeavor of this. I am not this. So now he starts with the description of the gross body. That is verse number 72. Majjasti medah palarakta charma vagahvayair bhiranvitam padoruvaksho bhujaprishtamastakaihi angairupangairupayuktametat aham mameti prathitam shariram mohaspadam sthulamitiryate budhaihi nabho nabhaswaddahanambu bhumayaha sukshmani bhutani bhavanti tani. So what is this body made up of? So he says majja, that is it is made up of 7 sapta dhatu, it is called. So majja is the bone marrow. Then asthi, the bones, medaha, fat, pala, flesh, rakta, blood, charma, skin. The skin is divided into two, charma and tvak, the inner and the outer. Pala, rakta, charma, tvak. These are the dhatus. Dhatu bhiranvitam. And what are these 7 presented as? They are presented as various parts of the body. What are those parts? Pada, the legs, uru, the thighs, Bakshaha, the chest, Bhuja, the arms, Prishta, the back, Mastaka, the head, in various parts of the body, from the head to the toes. Angai Rupangaihi Upayuktam Etat. These are the various limbs, the parts of the body. Now, what is the point of mentioning this? This we know, but the importance is that this we know as I. So we are taught from childhood. Functionally, yes, we need to know this is my head and this is my eyes and these are my shoulders and all that. That is a functional identification. But today we have a psychological identification with this, where we don't know our identity apart from this. Whereas this is only an equipment. That is one aspect. So to distinguish very clearly that this is a bundle of these 7 items. What was I before this? Before I came into the mother's womb, who was I? Where did I exist? In what form did I exist? So 7 elements, 7 dhatus, they make up this whole body. None of them by themselves are anything pleasant. But yet we identify with it and we feel this is me. Because it has come together and it is packaged in a particular way. Individually, if those 7 are removed and kept, we will not identify that this is me. There's a bucket of blood, there's some flesh, there is some bones, there's bone marrow, the skin, fat. We will not identify that this is me. But when it comes together, then the mind develops some fascination for it and feels that this is me. That's the power of delusion and Maya also. That we have not examined it. Even if we have examined, the identification is very, very strong. So these individual elements, the individual 7 items, they make up this body. We generally don't look at the body as a composition of these 7 and feel disgusted. We feel happy. We feel nice about this body, and maybe if the appearance is not so great or if there is some defect, then maybe some low self-esteem one goes through. But that also is questionable actually. Why should one feel like that? But otherwise, this body is me. This is what I am. Not even that this body is a house in which I am staying. I, the Jiva, Dehi, stays in this Deha. In the Gita, Bhagavan says that Dehi Nityam Avadhyoyam Dehe Sarvasya Bharata. That the soul is the one which is enlivening this body, and that Dehi is Nitya, Avadhya. It is indestructible, imperishable. Body is perishable. Body is born, body changes every moment, and body is perishable. So this bundle of 7 dhatus, Sapta Dhatu, that actually is a gross body. And one has to view it like that. This is a bundle of 7 dhatus. This is not me. There is one sutra which is very powerful, which says Sanghatasya Pararthatvat. Any assemblage is for the benefit of others, not for itself. So for example, a car is assembled. Then the car is for the benefit of the user of the car. A home is made. The home is not for itself. The home is meant for the indweller. A cell phone is there. It's assembled to be used by the owner of that cell phone. So the body also is assembled. It is a sanghata. It is a compilation. And this compilation is meant for whom? It is meant for the real I. It is not for itself. And so what is the purpose of this body? To serve the people, to do sadhana, purify the mind and realize the truth. That indweller who has forgotten his true identity or her true identity, that indweller has to detach from this body identification to realize the truth. Till that does not happen, the cycle of birth and death goes on. So this assemblage is meant for that. It is not meant for pleasing the body. A phone is not meant for pleasing the phone. A house is not meant for pleasing the house. It is meant for pleasing the owner of the house or the phone. But the body we are using to please the body. So the pleasure of the body is my pleasure, the pain of the body is my pain. The condition of the body is my condition. And how much our self-esteem goes up and down just identified with the body. How can the body make me feel less or more? If we put on more weight, we feel embarrassed. If we have a very good six-pack body, we feel very strong and confident. The first wrinkle, few white hair, the complex starts that, oh, I'm aging, I'm becoming old. So the identification with the body is the cause, the root cause of the bondage is this, Dehatma Buddhi, it is called, Dehatma Bhav. That the Deha is the Atma. So that's why he goes on to say that Aham Mameti Prathitam Shariram. This body is the seat of delusion. Mohaspadam. The seat of delusion is this body. As long as I think that Aham, this is me, and based on this Aham, this body is me, there is Mama, these are my people. So some people are my people, some people are not my people. Like how Dhritarashtra said, Mama Kaha, Pandavas Chaiva. These are my children and those are Pandu's children. Because he identifies. Based on the blood relation, etc., then he feels these are my children, my relatives, my family. They are not my family. Again, functional distinction is not a problem. Here we are talking about psychological, the discrimination that happens. So, aham mameti prathitam shariram. It is expressing as I and mine. It is a cause of seat of delusion. Mohaspadam sthulam itiryate budhaihi. And it is termed as gross body. So this gross body, why it is called gross body, is sthula sharira. The grosser a thing is, the less pervasive a thing is, the less subtler qualities it has. So the body is less pervasive, is only from the top of the head to the bottom, the toes. Is only that much. Pranas are more pervasive than the body. Mind is more pervasive than pranas. So grossness is where there is a limitation of the form, as well as it is more tangible. What is subtler is more pervasive and less tangible physically. So the mind we cannot see, hear, taste, smell, touch, but we can feel, we can observe the thoughts. So it is not grossly tangible. You cannot hold it in hands, you cannot see it. But we are able to understand, oh, these are my thoughts, these are my emotions. So it is subtler than the body. So sthula is that which is less pervasive, has more visibility and more tangible. That is one reason. Second reason is also that the gross body is called gross body because they are made up of, the body is made up of these 7 elements, 7 dhatus, which are actually made up of 5 grossified elements: space, air, fire, water, earth. Nabho nabhaswad dahanambu bhumayaha. That is the space, air, fire, water, earth. The body is made up of grossified 5 elements. The mind is made up of subtle 5 elements. What is the difference between grossified 5 elements and subtle 5 elements? The subtle 5 elements are each element independent of itself. Space, air, fire, water, earth are complete by themselves. They are not mixed with other elements. When they get mixed with the other four, each element gets mixed with the other four, it acquires a property of the other four. Then it becomes grossified five elements. So the property of space is sound, the property of air is touch, the property of fire is form, property of water is taste, and the property of property of earth is property of water is taste, and property of earth is smell. Five elements have five properties, each of them individual. Now these properties are exclusively for that particular element. Space has 100% space and only sound capability. Air has only 100% air and touch capability. Those are called subtle elements. And our mind is made up of these subtle elements. When these subtle elements go through a process of combination, which is the next verse where Bhagavan will, Shankaracharya will explain that how this combination happens. Then out of the tamasic aspect of these five elements, the combined five elements, the gross body is born. Out of the sattvic aspect of the five elements, senses of knowledge are born and mind is born. Out of the rajasic aspect, senses of action are born and pranas are born. And out of the tamasic aspect of these five elements, the body is born. Hence, the body is the product of the tamasic aspect of the five grossified elements. Hence, the body is inert. It doesn't know anything by itself. And yet, the beauty of this is because consciousness enlivens it, the body appears to be functioning on its own. The body has no intelligence of its own, actually speaking. As long as it is enlivened by consciousness, it functions. Thus, the mind and intellect function through this body because of consciousness. As soon as that mind and intellect leave this body, the body is dead. In fact, body is already dead before itself because it's made up of five elements. The elements are inert. But we consider it by default as body is functioning on its own. The body cannot function on its own. Then the dead body would be functioning on its own, but it does not. It requires the jiva, the mind and intellect empowered by consciousness, to be there. Then only it will function. So that one who understands very clearly, oh, this is anatma, this is just a gross body, this is only a tool. That person has done that vivek. When we spoke about vivek, Brahma vivek, we saw that what is the atma, what is the anatma. That which is this body, which is jada and chetan vivek. That which does not know itself and does not know anything around it, that is called jada. That which knows itself and knows everything around it without any other medium, that is called chetan, consciousness. So this body is not chetan. How do we know that? Because we see the body by itself is just a tool. As long as the mind is associated with it, there is a feeling. Even in simple examples, under chloroform, we don't feel any pain. The body is being cut open, but the body doesn't feel any pain because the mind has withdrawn from it. So the body is incapable of perceiving without the help of the mind, which is powered by consciousness. So by itself it is jada vastu only. Even at the time of death it will become jada. It will become jada in the sense we can see it very clearly that it is not moving, it is not responding, nothing it is able to do. All it was able to do was because of this presence of consciousness through the mind. It was appearing very alive, very powerful, that is able to do so many things. So aham mameti prasitam shariram. This body To consider this as I is the source of all delusion. So every sadhana that we do is actually to reduce this body identification. Vrata, japa, upvas, tap, bhajan, kirtan, any sadhana, yatra, dan, any sadhana that we do, one has to identify that did this reduce my body identification? Did this reduce my feeling that I am this body? How did it help me to realize that I am not this body, but I am consciousness enlivening this body? So Gurudev used to give a nice example that when we want to see the moon, we go and stand at the window, and through the window we see the moon. The seer is using the window to see the moon. The seer is not saying, I am the window. Through the window, the seer is seeing the moon. In the same way, through the eyes, I see the world. Through the ears, I hear the sounds. Through the mouth, we speak. Through the nose, we smell. Through the skin, we touch. But we are not the eyes and the nose and the mouth and the skin. So it's like saying, I am the window. I am the entity using the window to see the moon. In the same way, we are the entity using this body, not this body. So aham mameti prathitam shariram mohaspadam. It is a source of all delusion. Gurudev used to call this body as mobile manure. 60-70 kilos of mobile manure. It is just manure. So when we see the body just as a tool, and not only it is manure, it is actually speaking. If one wants to have Tivra Vairagya, it is for that this thinking is to be done. The Vivek has to be done. That it is not just a manure, mobile manure, it is a dirt producing machine actually. Whatever we eat gets transformed into such a waste. A nice cake and pastry, when it goes into the human body, it comes out as waste. So Tivra Vairagya, when one wants to have, then one consider this body is full of impurities. All these 7 elements, if you see, they all are impure. We won't be able to stand the smell of it if they are removed individually and kept. But when it comes together, somehow there's a delusion that I am this. There's one anecdote that there was a person who had a phobia, a very strange phobia he had. And that phobia is called sandwich phobia. If he sees sandwich anywhere, he will just freak out. He will start becoming very anxious. He says, what is this? So one day his friend decided to help him out of this phobia. So he said, you come and sit here. Don't worry, don't be so scared, don't have any. Maybe he had eaten sandwich sometime, faced something unpleasant. Maybe he got food poisoning or went through some diarrhea, typhoid, anything. He had a sandwich phobia. He says, this sandwich, if the moment he sees that, he will get very, very agitated. So the friend one day called him and he said, sit with me. He says, see this. This is bread. Are you scared of this bread? He says, no. This is brown bread. Much more healthy. Does this create any disturbance? He says, no. And he says, see, this is butter. Do you like butter? He said, yeah, I like butter. I put it in so many things. And so he applied the butter to the bread. Then he started cutting the vegetables. He says, see, this is tomato. How nice, red color. Do you like it? He said, yes. So he started cutting and he placed a few tomatoes. Then he cut the onion. Anything to be scared of onion? He says, no, except that, some tears will come, nothing to be scared of it. And so the friend was chopping the onion, and then they both of them, some tears they had. But he was not scared. He says, okay, so this bread is there, the butter is there, the tomato is there, onion is there. Now see, this potato is there, boiled potato. Do you like this? He says, yes. Cut. Put the potato. Cucumber is there. Beetroot is there. You see all these wonderful vegetables? He said, yes. And all of them were put. And then he took the next one slice of cheese and he said, see, this is cheese. You like this cheese? He said, I just love it. He put that cheese also. Then he took chutney. He said, see, this is green chutney made up of this coriander and all that. Do you have anything to be scared of? He says, no, nothing. So he put the chutney on the bread. And then he put the bread on that. And he said, see, here is the sandwich. The moment he said that here is the sandwich, this man started freaking out. Saying, sandwich, oh my God, this sandwich, I can't handle this sandwich. Every individual element he was not scared of. But when all of them have come together, now that is an assemblage. Now he is very scared of that assemblage. The exact opposite is happening to us. Each of these individual elements are disgusting by themselves. Nobody will like each of them individually. Little bit one has to scratch the top layer of the skin. And that blood will start coming out. Does anybody love that? Nobody likes it. One has to cover it. Ramana Maharshi used to say that the body is a wound. Every day that wound requires dressing. One has to clean it and one has to dress it. So the bathing and the makeup that we do is like that. It says the body is a wound. Who loves a wound? Nobody loves a wound. We want it to heal fast. Same way it is this body. Individually, none of those items are anything pleasant. But the moment they come together and they are assembled in a particular way, the delusion starts that this is me. Now, logically speaking, we even understand this, but the identification with the body is so strong because one has lived like that for a long period of time, that understanding myself to be this body. So mohaspadam, this is a seat of delusion. The more we discriminate like this, the more will be the detachment from the body. That this is the tool, 1. 2, it is made up of just these 7 dhatus, which by themselves are disgusting. Before it was there, before the body was born, I was existing. After the body dies also, I will exist. So who am I? I am something different from this body. And this body will just become ash. It is a byproduct of food. It is sustained by food and it becomes food. How can this body, which is a bundle of food, be me? That's the delusion, that the food which is outside me, on the plate, that is not considered as me. And that which comes out of the body as waste, that is not considered as me. But in between this food, which is there in the body, now I start thinking this is me. So when one does this discrimination, and one has to do this again and again and again, this is not to hate the body, this is not to abuse the body, this is not to insult the body. We always say that this body is a tool for sadhana to realize the self. So it has to be maintained, it has not to be abused or tortured. In the 17th chapter, Bhagavan very clearly says that Karshayanta Sharirastham Bhutagramam Achetasah. They are people who are torturing me. I am in the body and they are making the body go through such torture, that tamasic tapas it is. And he says, who is the one who is getting troubled? I, the indweller, I am getting troubled because they torture the body. So Vedanta is never telling us to torture the body, abuse the body, don't take care of it, ignore it, nothing like that. But it is very clear at the same time, it is a tool, it has to be maintained as a tool, it is not I. Aham mameti, that has to go. This is me and these are mine. Aham and mameti. Prathitam shariram. It is expressing as this, mohaspadam. And sthulam, it is very gross. So the more I have to detach from the body, the more I understand this is only a tool. I take care of the tool. If the body needs food, the food is given to the body for the health of the body, not for the taste of the tongue. If one is able to balance both, that is one's choice. But the identification with the body should not increase. It should decrease. More and more I understand this aspect, less and less will be bondage, closer will be one to realization of the self. So the first step of anatma is this, that the body one has to detach from. And this body then is made up of these 5 grossified elements. How did these subtle 5 elements become grossified 5 elements? That is the next verse. Now for this next verse, you will actually need the commentary of Gurudev, because there's a table in that where he explains it. So he says here, Parasparam shair militani bhutva sthulani cha sthula sharira hetavaha matra stadiya vishaya bhavanti shabdadaya pancha sukhaya bhoktuhu. So he says, Parasparam shair militani bhutva. The different parts of each element, paraspara militani, they mix with each other. Sthulani cha sthula sharira hetavaha. When they mix with each other, then the mixture of these 5 elements produces the gross body, produces the grossified 5 elements and then the gross body, sthulani and sthula sharira hetavaha, the cause of this gross body. Matra stadiya vishaya bhavanti. And then they become the senses, the subtle essence, they become the senses. As we said, the subtle 5 elements, they are called matraha. They become our sense faculties, seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching. And vishayaha bhavanti. The gross will become the objects. Or the sense, the enjoyments basically. Shabdadaya pancha sukhaya hetuhu. The form, the sound, the food, these sense objects for the enjoyment. That's the basic meaning of the word. So now we will come into the detail of this. So he says, Parasparam militani bhutva, Parasparam shahi militani bhutva. So in Vivek Chudamani, the process of Panchikarana is not mentioned actually. Only it is mentioned Parasparam militani bhutva. They mix with each other. In Tattva Bodh, in Atma Bodh, the process is explained very clearly. So maybe Shankaracharya ji did not elaborate on it here. So how do they mix? Now we have to remember one thing, this Panchikarana cannot be proved scientifically or shown. Just like Big Bang cannot be shown. But one has to infer, yes, this must have happened. There are some reasons for that. So in the same way, there is a understanding that this gross body is made up of gross 5 elements. The mind is made up of subtle 5 elements. So how did this subtle become the gross? So the Shastra reveals the process where the great meditative minds have sat quietly and the process has got revealed to them. This is how the subtle becomes gross. So what do they say? Now, if you see the chart there, in English, this Panchikarana means pentamerous self-division and mutual combination, meaning each element divides into 5 and then combines with the others. Penta means 5. Pentamerous, 5. self division, divides into one element divides into 5, and then mutual combination, they combine with the others. So first the element, suppose we take a space, one circle. This circle is drawn only for us to understand, otherwise it's not one finite thing. So space, if it is one full circle, in the first step, space divides into two halves. In the second step, it becomes into two halves. Once it divides itself into two halves, the second half will divide itself into 4 parts. 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8. So now each element is half plus 4 parts of 1/8. So space remains half and remains with other 4 parts 1/8 each. Now this happens to all 5 elements. And when these 5 elements, then how do they mix? The 4 parts of each element go and join the other elements. So 1/8 of space goes to air, 1/8 of space goes to fire, 1/8 of space goes to water, 1/8 of space goes to earth. And 1/8 of earth, water, fire, air comes into space. So space becomes 1/2 of space, 1/8 of each element, other element. Same way air becomes half of air and 1/8 of space, 1/8 of fire, 1/8 of water, 1/8 of earth. Now when they mix, when each element mixes with the other, then they are called as grossified 5 elements. And it is this grossified 5 elements which produces the whole creation. How? Because, not the whole creation, sorry, the tamasic aspect of this, it becomes the whole creation in terms of the body and the objects. So the 5 elements by themselves are products of Prakriti, and Prakriti has 3 gunas, Sattva guna, Rajo guna, Tamo guna. The importance of understanding this Panchikarana process is this, that the subtle elements produce the subtle world, the gross element produce the gross world. And there's a difference between this gross world, which is tangible to us, because it is easily perceptible and it is destroyable also. Very easily it gets destroyed. But the subtle world is more pervasive, less tangible, and doesn't get destroyed so easily as the gross world. So the 5 elements in their subtle form give rise to the subtle world. How do they give rise to the subtle world? The space by itself gives us the faculty of, the sattvic aspect of space gives the faculty of sound. The ability to hear comes from space. And it also gives us the ability to move, walk. That's a sense of action. So 5 senses of knowledge, seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching. And 5 senses of action. Movement through the legs, grasping through the hands, speaking through the tongue, reproducing, evacuating. These are 10 senses. From where these 10 senses came? Each of the 10 senses came from the 5 elements. So sattvic aspect of space gives rise to the ability to hear and the ability to move. That came from the rajasic aspect of space. And tamasic aspect of space has mixed with the other 5 elements, and then the gross element space is born. The sattvic aspect of air gives rise to touch. The rajasic aspect of air gives rise to grasping. The sattvic aspect of fire gives rise to the ability to see and the ability to speak. The rajasic aspect of fire gives rise to the ability to speak, which is a sense organ of action. Then the sattvic aspect of water gives rise to taste and to reproduction. And that is the Rajasic aspect of air. Then the Sattvic aspect of, sorry, not air, water. And then the Sattvic aspect of earth gives rise to smell, that is a sense of action, sense of knowledge, and evacuation. Now these are born, five senses of knowledge individually are born from each element, Sattvic aspect, because Sattva Guna is associated with knowledge. And from the Rajasic aspect, the five senses of action are born, because Rajoguna is dynamism, activity. So each element on its own creates one sense faculty. And then the combined aspect of these five elements, the Sattvic combined aspect of Sattvic aspect of five elements creates our mind, intellect, memory, ego. And combined Rajasic aspect of five elements creates the five pranas. This much is the subtle world. And this goes from one body to another. That's why it is called subtle, that even when the body is destroyed, these are not destroyed. Five senses of action, five senses of knowledge, five pranas, mind, intellect, memory, ego, 19, plus our past karma, the tendencies, plus ignorance. 21 items, they go from one body to another. Till the jiva doesn't realize that I am not this body, I am pure consciousness, the jiva travels. 21 items it takes, goes to the next body. If it is a human body, it will have all the 21. Meaning it will express all the 21. If it is not a human body, it will express according to that, lesser. So this is the subtle elements. Now the Sattvic aspect, Rajasic aspect of five elements we saw, they create the subtle world. The Tamasic aspect is what goes through this combination. So the Tamasic aspect of the five elements, each element divides itself into half, and that one half divides itself into further four parts and then goes through the mixture with each other element. So the Tamasic aspect of the five elements becomes grossified five elements, and those grossified five elements then make our body, and then they make the world of objects. So the food we eat, the things we see, the sounds that we hear, they all are made from the Tamasic aspect of the five elements, the gross five elements. Now why this is important to understand? In so many ways it is important, because the body is made up of the Tamasic aspect, so it doesn't know anything. The mind and the pranas, they are Sattvic and Rajasic. They are what are enlivening this body. But we are thinking that this body is functioning on its own. It has the ability to move on its own. The moment prana leaves the body, the ability to move goes away. And the moment mind leaves the body, the ability to perceive goes away. How does the body have all that on its own? It doesn't have on its own. One aspect. Second aspect to understand is when we say mind over matter, mind is made up of subtle five elements, Sattvic aspect. It is much more powerful than the body. But today, because I am identified with the body, now I am thinking I am this body, and my mind has become a slave of this body. So before we get ultimate freedom, which is moksha, the mind must be freed from the dependence on this body. The body completely enslaves the mind. Early morning, one has to get up, one understands the struggle. The struggle is the body wants more sleep, because the mind has trained itself in that way. That pleasure of the body is my pleasure. So the sleep gives more pleasure. So the mind also wants it, the body also wants it. So though one knows that one has to get up, do exercise, do puja, do japa, do some study, anything, the mind is enslaved by the body. Some food comes in front, it can easily disturb the mind. Why? Because the taste. I don't like this food. Only 2 inches it has to travel, this much. Before this, no taste, after this, no taste. But the 2 inches of the tongue completely enslaves the mind, makes it very disturbed. And that's why he says that aham mameti prathitam shariram. This body is the seat of all delusion. One has to understand that body as just a tool, and it is made up of grossified 5 elements. Why does it have so much of importance in my life that it can completely dominate my mind, my thinking, my emotions, my relationships, everything? That the comfort of the body becomes the top goal of life. The pleasure of the body is the goal of life. So for a Vedantic student, this is not just a theory to understand that, oh, this, how does 5 elements are made, how the creation has come about. It is a practical aspect that how in my own personality there is a hierarchy. One is gross body, subtler than that is subtle body, subtler than that is causal body, subtler than that is the self. And today I am a victim of the grossest, forgetting my imperishable nature. So gross body, and then further down the gross body are the sense objects. So these sense objects enslave the body, body enslaves the mind. And when I identify with all these, I forget that I am the self. So now this is the gross body. One more verse, 75th one. Ya eshu mudha vishayeshu baddha rago rupashena sudurdamena आयांति निर्यांत्यध ऊर्ध्वमुच्चैः स्वकर्मदूतेन जवेन नीताः. So now he says, ya eshu mudha vishayeshu baddha. Those who are deluded, those who are thoughtless, they are bound by the sense objects. How? Raga upashena sudurdamena. By the strings of attachment, they are bound to the sense objects. Sudurdamena is very difficult to cut asunder this attachment. So attachment to seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching various objects. So morning coffee one wants, telephone one wants, iPhone one wants, whatever, cell phone. Attachments to sense objects, and without that one can't live. Very, very strong attachments these are. So he says, Yayeshu mudha vishayeshu baddha. They are bound by sense objects. Ayanti niryanti. They come and they go, meaning we take birth and we depart. Ayanti niryanti. Adha urdhvam uchchaihi. We go down, we go up. Meaning, we go down in evolution, we rise up in evolution, we go into the 7 higher realms of consciousness, 7 lower realms of consciousness, depending on what? Swakarma dutena javena nitaha. The karmas of ours, having got a human body, these karmas can be done in such a way that I can get free from karma and realize that pure consciousness. Or if I don't know how to use karma, then I go up and down. Swakarma dutena, one's own karma. Javena nitaha, forcibly one is pushed. One may not want to do it, but the karmas are such that they will give karma phala, and I have to go through different experiences. So now how tragic it is. That human body which can be used to realize the self and free oneself. See, interesting thing is that in the human body only karma account starts and continues. No other body we can add new karmas. We can only exhaust karmas. They are bhoga yonis. Human body alone is called as karma yoni. So here we can act in such a way because we have self-awareness. We know that we are human beings. So we act in such a way that we can create new karmas. Or we act in such a way that we exhaust existing karmas and we don't create new karmas. And with the mind which is quiet, we contemplate and realize the truth. So the same body which can be tool for realization can also become a tool for increasing the bondage. This verse is actually a warning That if I think of myself only as a body, then identifying with the body, I will get attached to the sense objects and I will have desires for sense objects. Those desires will not get fulfilled everything in this life. Even when I put certain actions into play, the result won't come in this life. Now to experience that result, new life, new body. In that body, again some new results, new karma. This cycle goes on. Up and down one jiva goes, not realizing that it is swakarma dutena. It is one's own karma which is pulling one to all these realms. So this is a section, gross body. Now he takes up the next one, that this body is dependent on the sense objects. So how the sense objects also one must be very careful about. That we will take up tomorrow. Anything to ask, please welcome. In case you have any doubts about Panchikarana, etc., and if you have not understood that properly, then I suggest you take up the book Tattva Bodh. The details are given in that. The whole process of 5 elements, subtle creation, gross creation, all that is there in that. Okay. So we stop for today here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om.